The German shepherd's rib cracked with a sound like snapping wood. Emily Carter's scream died in her throat as the tallest boy's sneaker came down again, this time on Sam's neck. Blood frothed pink at her dog's mouth. She clawed at her wheelchair, trying to get out, to crawl to him. Her legs wouldn't move. They never would again. "Please," she choked. A second kid laughed, grinding his heel into her outstretched hand. Bones popped. She tasted copper, 50 meters away. Thomas Reed heard barking cut to silence. Sam dragged himself toward Emily, one paw at a time, ribs grinding with each breath. Their eyes met. His said, "I'm sorry I can't protect you." Then the tallest boy froze. His face, those blue eyes, that mole on his right cheek, Emily's entire body went cold. No. It couldn't be. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments along with the city you're watching from. Let's continue with the story. Thomas hit the ground running before conscious thought caught up. Military instinct. Assess. Act. The three teenagers scattered toward the parking lot like startled deer. Designer sneakers pounding asphalt, gone in seconds. Sam's breathing came in wet, rapid gasps. 40 breaths per minute. Thomas counted automatically. Normal was 15. Maybe 25 under stress. Not 40. "Don't move him." Thomas's hands hovered over the dog's ribcage. 2 breaks, maybe 3. Internal bleeding possible. When his fingers made contact with matted fur, a distant explosion echoed in his skull. Baghdad. Not Virginia, gone as fast as it came. "Focus." The woman in the wheelchair stared at him with eyes that had stopped processing reality. Shock. Her right hand was already swelling, knuckles split and bleeding. Thomas looked closer. Bite marks. Human teeth. "Ma'am, I'm calling 911. She shook her head violently, pointing after the boys with her good hand. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Help is coming." Thomas lied, phone already to his ear. 911, what's your emergency? Riverside Park, near the fountain. Dog attacked by teenagers. Severe injuries, possibly dying. "Sir, animal control doesn't operate through emergency services. You'll need to contact a veterinarian directly." Thomas hung up, dialed from memory. "Morrison. Patricia, it's Thomas Reed. I need you at Riverside Park. Now." "What's German Shepherd? Broken ribs, respiratory distress, possible internal hemorrhage. Victim is here too. Human victim. She's going into shock." A pause. Then, 12 minutes. Keep him breathing. Thomas. Pressure on any external wounds. Do not let her move the dog. 11 minutes, 58 seconds. The woman's phone lay beside her wheel. Screen spiderwebbed. Through the cracks, Thomas could see the wallpaper, a newborn baby, wrinkled and red. Eyes squeezed shut. The woman's voice cracked. My son." Her eyes rolled back. Thomas caught her before she pitched forward out of the chair. As he lifted her upright, her canvas bag tipped, contents spilling, wallet, keys, medication bottles, and a photograph. Creased and yellowed, folded into quarters. Thomas picked it up. The corner was visible St. Mary's Adoption Agency, 2008. His face drained of color. His hand started shaking so badly he nearly dropped it. He shoved everything back into her bag, but he'd seen enough. Dr. Patricia Morrison arrived in 11 minutes, 40 seconds. She knelt beside Sam without speaking, hands already working. Stethoscope, palpation. Her fingers moved with the efficiency of someone who'd done field surgery in Kandahar. "He'll need surgery. My clinic's 20 minutes. "No time," Thomas said. Morrison looked at the dog's gums, pale, bloodless, and nodded. Your place or hers? Emily stirred, mumbled something. Hers, Thomas decided. The apartment was 1.2 miles away. Thomas pushed the wheelchair, while Morrison drove ahead with Sam stretched across her back seat, an oxygen mask jury-rigged over his muzzle. Emily's building was ground floor, wheelchair accessible. The door stuck swollen from humidity. Thomas had to shoulder it open, inside darkness, every curtain drawn. He found the light switch. The easel lay on its side near the window. Half-finished canvas face down on the floor. Paint had dried in crusty rivers across the hardwood, weeks old. Maybe months. Thomas righted it without thinking, the way he'd done 100 times in his ex-wife's art studio. The kitchen table was buried under envelopes. Red stamps, final notice, eviction proceedings. He didn't need to open them to see the total on top, $8,400, due in 14 days. The medicine cabinet hung open in the bathroom. 3 orange bottles, all the same name, Emily J. Carter, sertraline, 100 milligrams. Dosage had doubled 6 months ago. Doubled again 3 months later. He turned. The Ziploc bag sat on the bathroom counter. Inside, a single-edge razor blade. Rust-brown stains on the metal that weren't rust. Thomas closed the cabinet door. In the living room. Morrison had already cleared the coffee table, laying out surgical tools on a sterile drape. I need light, all of it. Thomas opened every curtain. Sunlight poured in, illuminating walls covered in photographs, Emily standing, laughing, whole. But every picture with another person had been scissored. Careful cuts removing faces, leaving Emily isolated in frame after frame. Under her pillow, a photo album. Thomas shouldn't have looked. Page 1, a hospital blanket, a baby's face. Text below in careful handwriting. Brandon, 1 day old. Page 2, a toddler on a swing set. Photographed from far away through chain-link fence. Brandon, 3 years old. Page 3, a boy on a bicycle, this time from across the street. Brandon, 7 years old. Hundreds of photos, birthdays, school plays, soccer games, always from a distance, always hidden. 16 years of watching a child grow up from the shadows. The last photo, a teenage boy, tall and athletic, standing outside Rosewood Academy in a Letterman jacket. The same boy who'd kicked Sam. Thomas. Morrison didn't look up from her work. Hand me the retractor. He moved automatically, years of assisting medics taking over. This is interesting, Morrison said. She held up a small scanner, waved it over Sam's shoulder. It beeped. He's chipped, military registry. She pulled up the information on her phone. The blood left Thomas's face for the second time that hour. Rex 2, offspring of MWD Rex K9 KIA Afghanistan, 2012. Rex, the dog who'd saved his unit, the dog who died in his arms. Thomas. Morrison glanced up. You look like you've seen a ghost. He was staring at Sam, who stared back with eyes too intelligent, too familiar. Morrison's scalpel paused over the incision site. Wait, there's something in his stomach. She worked carefully, extracting forceps, pulled a piece of fabric, soaked in blood and bile. She spread it on the drape. Embroidered in gold thread, Brandon Phillips, class of 2024. Rosewood Academy. Thomas and Emily, now conscious, watching from her chair, looked at each other. Rosewood Academy, Emily whispered. That's a $45,000 a year school. Thomas was already on his phone, pulling up Facebook. Brandon Phillips, 16 years old. Hundreds of photos, family vacations, ski trips, yacht parties. One photo stopped him cold. Brandon standing between two adults, all three beaming at the camera. Caption, "Forever grateful to God for our miracle son." The father, David Phillips, esque. Named to Virginia super lawyers 3 years running. The mother, Catherine Phillips, photographed accepting a Philanthropist of the Year award. And Brandon, in the center, with Emily's exact eyes and the same mole on his right cheek. Emily made a sound, not quite a scream, not quite a sob. "That's him," she breathed. "That's my son. And he just tried to kill my dog." Morrison finished the last suture at 6:47 p.m. "He'll live, but he needs rest, antibiotics, and monitoring. I'll come back tomorrow." "I'll stay," Thomas said. Emily looked up, surprised. "You don't have to. I'm staying." After Morrison left, Thomas called the police non-emergency line. They took a report over the phone, scheduled an in-person interview for Thursday morning. Adequate, not ideal, but it was something. The apartment felt smaller with both of them in it. Thomas found chicken in the freezer, rice in the cupboard. He cooked the way his mother had taught him, simple, efficient. When he set the bowl in front of Emily, she stared at it like she'd forgotten what food was. "When did you last eat?" he asked. She didn't answer, but she picked up the spoon, 3 bites, then 4. Then she finished the bowl. "Thank you," she whispered. Sam woke at 8:15 p.m. His tail thumped weakly against the floor once, twice. When Emily wheeled closer, he lifted his head just enough to lick her hand. She cried. The good kind of crying. Thomas found an old security camera in his truck left over from a job site he'd worked 2 years ago. He mounted it above Emily's door, angled to catch the entire entryway, tested it with his phone. The feed came through grainy but clear. "If they come back," he said, "we'll have proof." He opened the windows. Fresh air pushed out the staleness. Evening light stretched across the floor in golden bars. Emily watched him right the easel. Position it near the window where the light was best. "You didn't have to do that." "I know." She was quiet for a moment. "Then, why are you helping me?" Thomas looked at Sam, sleeping on his makeshift bed of blankets. "A dog saved my life once. Now it's my turn." It wasn't the whole truth, but it wasn't a lie either. Emily's voice dropped. "Sam is the only reason I'm still here, the only reason I didn't." She gestured vaguely toward the bathroom. Thomas had seen the razor blade. He understood. "You're still here," he said quietly. "That's what matters." They sat in silence that felt less empty than before. At 9:00 p.m., Thomas called his VA rep, explained the situation. Veteran helping disabled woman, dog injured protecting her, medical expenses mounting. "We can do 3,000, the rep said. "Emergency assistance fund. I'll push it through tonight." 3,000. Not everything, but something. Emily was checking her phone, scrolling through her bank app with a confused expression. "I don't understand," she murmured. "There's $12,000 in my savings account." "That's good, isn't it?" "I didn't put it there." She scrolled further. "Deposits, $500, every month for 2 years. Her voice cracked. "Marcus, My ex-boyfriend. He's been sending money this whole time. You didn't know. She shook her head, tears falling. I thought everyone left. I thought I was alone. But he didn't forget me. The weight on her shoulders seemed to lift, just slightly. With this, she said, I can pay rent. I can keep Sam healthy. I can... She stopped, overwhelmed. You can breathe, Thomas finished. While Emily composed herself, Thomas pulled up Facebook on his phone, searched Brandon Phillips, Rosewood Academy. The profile loaded. Photo after photo of a life Thomas could never afford: ski trips to Aspen, summers in the Hamptons, a boat christened Catherine's Dream, but also family dinners. Brandon hugging his adoptive parents. A photo from a soup kitchen, all 3 serving meals. Caption reading, "Blessed to give back." Another photo, Brandon with a golden retriever. Caption, "Family is everything." They look like good people, Thomas said, turning the phone toward Emily. She studied the photos. They gave him everything I couldn't. Maybe he just made a mistake. Teenagers do stupid things. His parents will handle it right. Emily nodded slowly. I don't want him in jail. I don't want his life ruined. She looked at Sam. I just want him to apologize. To Sam. To show he understands what he did. That's fair. Thomas taught Sam a simple command: pressure therapy, something he'd learned from his own PTSD counselor. Sam learned fast, pressing his weight against Emily's legs when commanded. Emily smiled. Actually smiled. He's smart, Thomas said. He stopped. Like his father. Like Rex. Night fell. Emily dozed in her chair. Sam slept peacefully, breathing steady. Thomas settled on the couch. For the first time in months, Emily's sleep was dreamless. At 11:00 p.m., Thomas's phone vibrated. Unknown number. He stepped outside before answering. Mr. Reed. A man's voice, smooth and practiced. This is David Phillips, Brandon's father. I understand there was an unfortunate incident this afternoon. I'd like to meet with you tomorrow. Discuss this like adults. I'm sure we can resolve everything civilly. No need to make this bigger than it needs to be. The words were polite. The tone was ice. Thomas looked through the window at Emily sleeping, at Sam's chest rising and falling. What time? He asked. David Phillips' office occupied the 22nd floor of the Monroe building. Floor-to-ceiling windows, Persian rug, mahogany desk that probably cost more than Thomas's truck. Thomas arrived at 9:00 a.m. sharp. Emily had wanted to come. He'd convinced her to rest. David stood when Thomas entered 6 feet tall. Silver-touched hair, a smile that never reached his eyes. The handshake was firm, calculated. Mr. Reed, please, sit. Thomas remained standing. Suit yourself. David opened a folder. Let's skip the pleasantries. Brandon made a mistake. Teenage impulsivity. I'm prepared to compensate Miss Carter for her troubles. He slid a check across the desk. $50,000. This covers medical expenses for the dog, any emotional distress, and ensures we can all move forward. Sign the NDA. Take the check. Everyone goes home happy. Thomas didn't touch it. Brandon needs to apologize. To Emily. To Sam. Brandon is 16. He's confused, acting out. Surely you understand that teenagers... He broke a dog's ribs and bit a disabled woman's hand. David's smile thinned. According to Miss Carter. who has a documented history of mental instability. He slid another paper across the desk. Emily's medical records, psychiatric admissions, suicide attempts, medication lists. How did you... I'm very thorough, Mr. Reed, just as I've been thorough about you. A third document. Thomas's hands went cold. Police report, April 15th, 2023. Hit-and-run accident, Route 29. 1 fatality, Janet Carter, age 52. 1 survivor, Emily Carter, permanent spinal injury. David's voice was clinical. The driver was Paul Reed. Blood alcohol content 0.15, well over the legal limit. Thomas's throat closed. Paul Reed, your brother, who you were with that evening at McCrady's bar, who you watched get into his truck, visibly intoxicated, who you did not report. I didn't know he'd... But you knew he was drunk. You let him drive. And when police interviewed you later, you stated, David read from the report, I didn't notice my brother drinking excessively. He seemed fine when he left. Thomas felt the floor tilt. Obstruction of justice, accessory after the fact. Paul got a slap on the wrist, reckless driving. But you and I both know it should have been vehicular manslaughter. David leaned forward. Your brother killed that woman, and you helped him get away with it. I didn't know that the woman in the car would survive, that she'd spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. David's voice dropped. Tell me, Mr. Reed, when did you realize the woman you've been helping is the same woman your brother destroyed? Thomas couldn't speak. I'm guessing recently, which explains your sudden generosity. David smiled. Guilt is a powerful motivator. Brandon is Emily's son. Thomas forced the words out. You know that, don't you? David's expression didn't change. Of course I know. Brandon found his birth record 6 months ago. Did his own research. Found Emily Carter living 3 miles away from his school. He wanted to meet her. He wanted to confront her. David stood, walked to the window. Brandon believed his birth mother abandoned him because he was unwanted, a burden. Then he saw her in that wheelchair and concluded something else entirely. What? That she was faking. That the disability was a convenient excuse to avoid responsibility. To avoid him. Thomas stared. That's insane. Is it a teenage boy, angry and confused? Sees the mother who gave him away living in poverty, claiming disability, and thinks she's playing victim. She gave me up to avoid raising me. And now she's pretending to be helpless to avoid facing me. David turned. Children create narratives. Mr. Reed. Sometimes those narratives are wrong, but they feel real. The accident that paralyzed her was real. My brother. Caused it, yes. 2 years ago. But Brandon didn't know that. He just saw a woman he believed was lying. David returned to his desk. So he lashed out. Foolishly, violently. And now we're here. Thomas's mind reeled. You're protecting him. I'm protecting my son from making a mistake that ruins his future. Brandon has been accepted to Princeton. Full scholarship. He has a life ahead of him. David's voice hardened. I will not let one afternoon of poor judgment destroy that. He nearly killed a dog. He assaulted a disabled woman. He's a child who made a mistake. Emily Carter is an emotionally unstable woman with a history of self-harm whose testimony won't hold up in court. No witnesses besides you who arrived after the incident began. No credible case. David opened another folder. But here's what I do have. Evidence of your obstruction in the 2023 hit and run. Testimony from the bartender at McCready's confirming you and Paul left together. Security footage showing you watching him get into his truck. He slid the documents forward. If this goes to trial, I will bury Emily Carter's credibility. I will expose her abandonment of Brandon. I will paint her as a woman so unstable she attacked 3 teenagers and their dog defended them. That's a lie. It's a narrative, and I'm very good at selling narratives. David leaned back. I will also ensure the district attorney reopens the investigation into Paul Reed's accident. You'll be charged as an accessory. You'll lose your parole status. Your ex-wife will use it to permanently terminate your parental rights to Sarah. Thomas's daughter, 7 years old. He hadn't seen her in 2 years. You'll never see your child again. Mr. Reed. Emily Carter will be publicly humiliated and sued into bankruptcy. Brandon will be traumatized by the trial. Everyone loses. David tapped the check. Or, you take this. Sign the NDA. Walk away. Emily gets compensated. Brandon gets counseling and community service privately. No lawyers, no trials. No one's life gets destroyed. Emily deserves the truth. Emily deserves peace. Do you really want to tell her that the man who's been helping her is the same man who helped kill her mother? David's eyes were sharp. That your guilt is the only reason you're in her life. That you've been lying to her from the beginning. Thomas felt sick. 48 hours. Mr. Reed, Friday, 5 p.m. Bring me signed agreements from both you and Miss Carter, or I file motions Monday morning. David stood. I suggest you consider what's best for everyone involved. Thomas walked out in a daze. By the time he reached his truck, his hands were shaking so hard he couldn't grip the steering wheel. He'd come to Emily's rescue out of guilt. He was the reason she needed rescuing. When he returned to Emily's apartment at 4:00 p.m., she was painting. Actually painting. Sam lay beside her chair, tail wagging. She looked up, smiling. How did it go? Did they agree to apologize? Thomas stood in the doorway. Behind him, in his truck, sat the unsigned check and NDA. Ahead of him, Emily waited, trusting, hopeful, healing. They need time to think about it. He lied. Emily nodded, turned back to her canvas. I understand. These things take time. Thomas watched her paint. 48 hours until he had to choose. Tell her the truth and destroy her. Or take the money and live with the lie forever. That night, he didn't sleep. At 11:47 p.m., his phone buzzed. Email from David Phillips. Subject line, reminder, attached photos. Thomas leaving McCready's bar with Paul, Paul's truck weaving across lanes. The accident scene, Emily's car crushed. Emergency responders pulling bodies from wreckage. And one more, a legal document, already drafted. Commonwealth of Virginia versus Thomas Reed. Charges: obstruction of justice, accessory after the fact to vehicular manslaughter. The email text was brief. Clock's ticking. Thomas stared at his phone until the screen went dark. Then Emily's voice, soft from the other room. Thomas, you still awake? I just wanted to say thank you for everything. You're the first person in 2 years who made me feel like I matter. Thomas closed his eyes. You matter, he whispered back. Then his phone buzzed again. This time a text from an unknown number. Mr. Reed, this is Brandon. Please don't tell my mom about me. I need to tell her myself. I need to apologize the right way. Can we meet Just you and me. Thomas stared at the message. Brandon wanted to meet. David wanted silence. Emily wanted truth. And Thomas wanted to disappear. Wednesday night. Thomas didn't go home. He lay on Emily's couch, staring at ceiling water stains that looked like maps of countries that didn't exist. Every time he closed his eyes, he was back on Route 29. April 15th, 2023. 9:47 p.m., McCready's bar parking lot. Paul stumbling toward his truck, keys jingling. Paul, give me the keys. I'm fine. Tommy, just 3 beers. 6. Thomas had counted, but Paul was his brother, his only family after the divorce. Please. I drive this road every day. I could do it blindfolded. Thomas watching the truck pull away, tail lights weaving slightly. He'd taken out his phone, finger hovering over 9211, then put it back in his pocket. 10 minutes later, sirens. The sound that would haunt him forever. Thomas jerked awake, sweat-soaked. 3:17 a.m. In the bedroom. Emily whimpered in her sleep. Sam's nails clicked across the floor, the dog climbing onto her bed, doing the pressure therapy Thomas had taught him. The whimpering stopped. Thomas buried his face in his hands. Thursday morning. Emily woke cheerful. She'd slept through the night, first time in months. She said, she made coffee, hummed while she scrambled eggs. I keep thinking about Brandon, she said. What he looks like in person, whether he has my smile, whether he likes art, or sports, or music. She paused. Do you think he'll want to know me? After all this? Thomas's coffee turned to ash in his mouth. I'm sure he will. She talked about the future. Maybe getting a part-time job teaching art online. Maybe saving enough to visit Marcus. Thank him in person for the money. Maybe the doorbell rang. Certified mail. Thomas signed for it. The envelope was heavy. Official. He knew before opening it. What is it? Emily wheeled closer. Thomas pulled out the papers. Circuit Court of Fairfax County petition for defamation. David Phillips, on behalf of Brandon Phillips, minor versus Emily Jane Carter. Emily took the documents with shaking hands. Defamation. They're suing me. She read further. $100,000 in damages for false accusations of assault. Her medical records were attached. Highlighted sections, multiple psychiatric admissions, suicide attempts, delusional episodes. Then another document. Est Mary's Adoption Agency, Certificate of Adoption, Child Brandon Michael Phillips. Birth mother Emily Jane Carter. Age 16. Date of birth May 15, 2008. Reason for surrender. Unable to provide adequate care. Voluntary relinquishment. Emily's face went white. May 15th, she whispered. That's my baby's birthday. She grabbed her phone, pulled up Brandon's Facebook, scrolled frantically. A birthday post from Catherine Phillips. Sweet 16 to our miracle boy, May 15th will forever be the day our lives changed. Photos. Dozens of them. Brandon as a toddler. Brandon's first day of school. Brandon at soccer practice. Emily zoomed in on his face. Blue eyes, her eyes. The mole on his right cheek, same position as hers. The way his smile tilted higher on the left. No. The word came out broken. No, no, no. She scrolled to the park incident posts. Brandon's friends had tagged him in photos from that day. One showed him in the same Letterman jacket the one Sam had torn. My son. Emily's hands trembled so violently, the phone clattered to the floor. My baby. I gave him to a good family so he could have a good life. And he found me. And She looked at Sam, still bandaged, still healing. He tried to kill my dog. The sob that tore out of her was inhuman. Thomas reached for her. She shoved him away. I looked for him. She screamed. Every birthday, every Christmas, I stood outside his school just to see him smile. I wanted him to be happy. I wanted him to have everything I couldn't give him. She grabbed the adoption papers, crumpling them. It says I abandoned him. Voluntary relinquishment. They make it sound like I didn't care. I was 16. I slept in a shelter. I had nothing. Thomas knelt beside her chair. Emily, does Brandon know I gave him up because I loved him? Her voice cracked. Or does he think I threw him away? Thomas couldn't answer. Emily wheeled to her room. Thomas heard drawers opening, closing. A long silence. Then Sam barked, sharp, desperate. Thomas ran. Emily sat by the bathroom sink, the razor blade in her hand. Sam had his teeth around her wrist, not biting, just holding, preventing. Let go, Sam, Emily whispered. Please, I can't do this anymore. Sam whined, didn't release. My mom is dead. My son hates me. I can't walk. I can't even protect my own dog. Tears streamed down her face. What's the point? What am I worth? Thomas dropped to his knees, gently took the blade from her hand. Sam released her wrist. You're worth everything, Thomas said, voice breaking. You don't understand, Emily sobbed. You don't understand this pain. But I do, Thomas thought. I understand because I caused it. He wrapped his arms around her while she screamed into his shoulder. Sam pressed against her legs, whining. I can't do this, Emily gasped. I can't. Please, just let me go. No. Thomas held her tighter. You still have me. You still have Sam. Why? She pulled back, looking at him with devastated eyes. Why do you care? You don't even know me. I know you better than you realize. I know your mother died because my brother was drunk. I know you're in that chair because I was a coward. I know enough, he said. She collapsed against him. Spent hours past. Emily cried until she had nothing left. Then she just sat. Hollow. At 6:00 p.m., Thomas's phone rang. Paul. He stepped into the hallway. Tom, did you take that deal yet? No. What are you waiting for? 50 grand? That's more than... You need to confess. Silence. What, the accident? 2023, Emily Carter. You need to turn yourself in. Paul laughed. Bitter. Are you insane? That was 2 years ago. It's done. You killed her mother. You destroyed her life. I paid the insurance $30,000. I did my part. You were drunk, and you didn't stop me. You're just as guilty. Paul's voice rose. I'm not going to prison because you suddenly grew a conscience. I have a family, kids. So does Emily. She has a son who thinks she's worthless because he doesn't know the truth. That's not my problem. You made it your problem when you got behind the wheel. I'm hanging up. Don't call me again. Take the money. Thomas, stop trying to be a hero. You're not good at it. The line went dead. Thomas stood in the hallway, phone in his hand. Behind him, Emily's voice. Thomas, are you okay? He turned. She'd wheeled to the doorway. Her eyes were red, swollen. But she was looking at him with something like concern. I'm fine. You don't look fine. She paused. I just wanted to say, thank you for staying, for not giving up on me. You're the first person in 2 years who made me feel like I deserved to live. The words hit like bullets. Thomas forced a smile. You do deserve it. She wheeled back inside. Thomas slid down the wall, sat on the floor. He was the reason she wanted to die. And she was thanking him. His phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Mr. Reed, it's Brandon. I can't sleep. I need to talk to you. I need to explain. Can you meet me tomorrow, 7 a.m., Riverside Park, please? Don't tell my dad. He doesn't understand. I need to make this right. Thomas stared at the message. Then another text came through, from David Phillips. 24 hours, Mr. Reed. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. Sign or everyone suffers. And finally, a third notification. Emily's bedroom door opening. Her voice, quiet. Thomas, can you come here? He stood, walked in. Emily sat by the window, moonlight across her lap. Sam's head rested on her knees. She held the photo album 16 years of watching Brandon from afar. I need to see him, she said. I don't care if he hates me. I need to look him in the eye. I need him to know I never stopped loving him. She looked up at Thomas. Will you help me find him? Thomas's heart shattered. Yes, he whispered. Because what else could he say at 11:52 p.m.? One more text arrived. Brandon, I'm so sorry for everything. I didn't know. I didn't understand. Please give me a chance to explain. 7 a.m. I'll be waiting. Thomas showed Emily the message. She read it again. Then she started crying. But this time hope mixed with the tears. He wants to talk. She breathed. My son wants to talk to me. Thomas nodded, unable to speak. We'll go together, Emily said. Tomorrow morning. You, me, and Sam. We'll meet him. We'll fix this. She smiled through tears. Thomas smiled back. Neither of them slept. At 6:47 a.m., Thomas's phone rang. David Phillips. Change of plans, Mr. Reed. Brandon is missing. He left the house last night. If you know where he is, you need to tell me. Now. We're going to the park. Thomas told David. Emily needs to see him. Absolutely not. Brandon is confused, emotionally volatile. He texted asking to meet. He wants to apologize. A long pause. If you interfere with my son, Thomas hung up. Riverside Park at 6:58 a.m. Mist rising off the grass. The fountain where Sam had nearly died stood silent. Brandon sat on a bench, hood up, shoulders hunched. When he heard the wheelchair, he stood up close. The resemblance was undeniable. Emily's eyes stared back at her from a face 16 years older than the infant she'd held once. Mom. The word came out cracked. Emily's hand flew to her mouth. Brandon dropped to his knees in front of her wheelchair. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He wasn't crying. He was sobbing, the kind of crying that came from somewhere deeper than tears. I thought, he gasped. I thought you didn't want me. I found the adoption papers, and I thought you gave me away because I was a burden. Then I saw you and you were in a wheelchair, and I thought you were faking, that you were just... No. Emily reached out, touched his face with shaking fingers. Never. I was 16. I had nothing. I wanted you to have everything I couldn't give you. I didn't know about the accident. I didn't know about your mom, my dad. David, he didn't tell me. He just said you were unstable, that you'd abandoned me, that I shouldn't. Sam limped forward, sniffed Brandon's hand. Brandon froze. I hurt him. I hurt him so badly. Sam licked his palm. Brandon wrapped his arms around the dog, buried his face in his fur. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, buddy. Sam's tail wagged. Slow, but genuine. Emily was crying. Thomas was crying. Brandon was crying. And for 5 minutes, none of them spoke. They just held each other, mother, son, dog, while Thomas stood guard. Finally, Emily asked, "Why did you do it? Why did you hurt Sam?" Brandon pulled back, wiping his face. I was angry, so angry. I spent 16 years wondering why you didn't want me. Then I found you and you looked so broken. I thought you were playing victim. I thought... He shook his head. It doesn't matter what I thought. I was wrong and cruel, and I'm so sorry. Your father, David, he's suing me, Emily said quietly. I know. Brandon pulled out his phone. He made me lie. He said if I admitted what I did, I'd go to juvenile detention, that I'd lose Princeton, that I'd never see you again because you'd hate me. He opened his voice memos app. I recorded him. He pressed play. David's voice, cold and clear. Brandon, listen to me carefully. You did not assault that woman. She's mentally ill. She attacked you and the dog defended you. That's the story. If you deviate from it, I will personally ensure you end up in a facility for troubled youth. Do you understand? Brandon's voice, small. But Dad, I did hurt the dog. I hurt her. I need to apologize. You need to do exactly as I say. I've built this family. I've given you everything, and you will not destroy it with teenage guilt. Thomas and Emily exchanged glances. There's more, Brandon said, scrolling through texts. Messages from David. If you contact Emily Carter, you're no longer my son. She's using you. She wants money. Don't be naive. Stick to the story or lose everything. This is coercion, Thomas said. Intimidation of a minor witness. Brandon nodded. I love my parents. They gave me a good life. But they don't own me, and they can't make me lie about this. Emily reached for his hand. What do you want? Brandon. Really want? He looked at her. I want to know you. Not from across the street, not through a camera lens. I want to know my mom. Emily's breath caught. You knew I was watching you. Since I was 12, I saw you at my soccer game. You were sitting far away, but I recognized you from the picture in my adoption file. He smiled sadly. I always wondered why you never came closer. I didn't think I had the right. You're my mother. You always had the right. Sam barked once sharp, urgent. A black Mercedes pulled into the parking lot. David Phillips stepped out, followed by Catherine. Both looked furious. Brandon. David strode toward them. Get away from her, now. Brandon stood, positioning himself between his adoptive father and Emily. No. We are leaving. Immediately. I'm not going anywhere. Catherine's voice was softer, pleading. Honey, you don't understand. This woman is my mother, and you know what? So are you. Brandon's voice steadied. I can have two mothers, but I can't have two fathers who lie to me. David's jaw tightened. Everything I've done has been to protect you. From what? The truth? From making a mistake that ruins your future? David turned to Thomas. You poisoned him against us. He made his own choice, Thomas said. David's hand moved to his pocket. He pulled out an envelope. Then let me make mine. He handed it to Thomas. Inside legal documents, the obstruction charges, the evidence against Paul, photos of Thomas at the bar that night. You have until 5 hours p.m., David said. Sign the NDA, take the money, walk away, or I file these Monday morning and both of you lose everything. He looked at Emily. You'll be bankrupt and discredited. Your son will watch his birth mother destroyed in court. Then to Thomas. And you'll never see your daughter again. Sarah, right 7 years old. How do you think she'll feel knowing her father helped kill someone? Thomas felt the ground tilt. Brandon stepped forward. Dad, stop. This is adult business. I'm pressing charges against myself. Brandon's voice didn't waver. I'll testify that I assaulted Sam, that I bit Emily's hand, that you threatened me into silence. I have recordings, I have texts, and I'm not afraid of you anymore. Catherine gasped. Brandon, no, I love you, Mom, but this is wrong. What I did was wrong, and hiding it makes it worse. David's face darkened. If you do this, there's no going back. No Princeton, no trust fund, no family. I'll still have family. Brandon looked at Emily. I'll have her. Emily wheeled forward, took Brandon's hand. The four of them stood there, Emily, Brandon, Thomas, Sam facing David and Catherine. David's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His expression changed. This conversation isn't over, he said. Then to Brandon, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. They left. Emily exhaled shakily. What do we do now? Brandon looked at Thomas. We fight. Together. We go to the police. We tell the truth. Thomas nodded slowly. But Brandon wasn't done. He turned to Thomas directly. There's something else. About the accident that hurt my mom. His voice dropped. I did research. The police report says the driver was Paul Reed. That's your last name. Thomas went very still. Is he related to you? Emily's head snapped toward Thomas. What? Brandon pulled up an article on his phone. Paul Reed, charged with reckless driving in 2023, hit and run on Route 29. But the vehicular manslaughter charge was dropped due to lack of evidence. He showed Thomas the screen. There's a witness listed, Thomas Reed, who testified that he didn't see Paul drinking that night. Emily's face drained of color. Thomas. Her voice was barely a whisper. Is Paul Reed your brother? Thomas couldn't breathe. Did you? Emily's hands gripped her wheelchair arms. Did you know this whole time? He looked at her, at the trust in her eyes turning to horror. Yes, he said. The word destroyed everything. Emily pushed her wheelchair backward. Away from Thomas. Away from the man who'd saved her. The man who destroyed her. Your brother killed my mother? Yes. You knew he was drunk? You let him drive? Yes. And you've been here in my home, touching my things, feeding me, helping me because you felt guilty. Thomas dropped to his knees on the wet grass. I saw you at your mother's funeral. I stood in the back. I watched you cry, and I knew what I'd done. What you done? Emily's voice rose. You didn't drive the car, but you could have stopped it. One phone call, her voice broke. My mother would still be alive. Brandon stood frozen between them. I followed you for 2 years. Thomas continued. Watched you struggle. Wanted to help, but didn't know how. Then that day in the park when those kids attacked Sam, it was my chance to finally, to what ease your conscience. Emily was shaking. You let me thank you. You let me trust you. You held me while I cried about the accident, and you said nothing. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't bring back my mother. Sorry doesn't give me back my legs. She was screaming now. Get out. Get away from me. Sam whined, confused, moving between them. Brandon found his voice. Wait. He looked at Thomas. You knew about the accident? You knew your brother caused it, but you still came to help my mom. Yes. Why? Because I owed her everything. Because I took everything. Brandon turned to Emily. Mom, he's been lying, but he's also been here. Taking care of you, taking care of Sam. He didn't have to do any of that. He did it for himself. Emily sobbed. To feel better about what he did. Maybe at first, Brandon said quietly. But nobody stays for 2 years just for guilt. Thomas pulled out his phone with shaking hands. I'm calling the police. Right now, I'm confessing to obstruction of justice. I'm telling them everything about Paul, about the accident, about the cover-up. Thomas, no. Brandon started. I should have done this 2 years ago. Thomas dialed. Emily grabbed his wrist. Stop. He looked at her. If you confess, she said slowly, what happens to you? Prison, maybe 2 years. Definitely a felony record. And your daughter Sarah? I'll never see her again. My ex-wife will make sure of that. Emily's grip tightened. Tears streamed down her face. I hate you. I hate what you did. I hate that you lied to me. I know. But if you go to prison, David Phillips wins. Brandon loses you. Sam loses you. And I... She choked on the words. I lose the only person who's made me feel human in 2 years. You shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. Emily released him. But I do. And I hate that too. Brandon knelt beside both of them. There's another way. We take everything to the police together. My recordings, Thomas's testimony. We make David answer for coercion. We make Paul answer for the accident. But Thomas, you don't take the fall alone. Thomas shook his head. Your father will destroy all of you. Let him try. At 10:00 a.m., they walked into the Fairfax County Police Department. By 2:00 p.m., they sat in an emergency hearing before Judge Sarah McKenzie. David Phillips had filed an emergency motion to prevent Brandon from testifying. Catherine sat beside him, face pale. The courtroom was small, intimate. Everything felt fragile. The prosecutor presented Brandon's recordings first. David's voice filled the room. You will not destroy this family with teenage guilt. Catherine closed her eyes. Then Brandon took the stand. On Tuesday, I assaulted Emily Carter's service dog. I kicked him repeatedly, breaking his ribs. When Miss Carter tried to stop me, I bit her hand. His voice was steady. I did this because I was angry at a mother I thought had abandoned me. I was wrong, and my father threatened me into staying silent. David's lawyer stood. Your Honor, this is a 16-year-old boy who's been manipulated by... Sit down. Judge Mackenzie said. I want to hear this. Brandon continued. I love my parents. They gave me a good life, but they don't get to choose when I tell the truth. Next, Thomas. 2 years ago, I witnessed my brother Paul Reed drinking at McCready's bar. He had 6 beers in 90 minutes. I watched him get into his truck. I knew he shouldn't drive. I did nothing. The judge leaned forward. Continue. 10 minutes later, he struck a vehicle on Route 29. Janet Carter died instantly. Emily Carter suffered permanent spinal injury. When police questioned me, I lied. I said I didn't notice Paul drinking excessively. I helped him avoid a vehicular manslaughter charge. Why are you confessing now? Thomas looked at Emily. Because I've spent 2 years trying to fix what I broke. But the only way to fix it is to tell the truth. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, we'd like to call Paul Reed. A bailiff opened the door. Paul walked in looking older than his 43 years, eyes hollow. Mr. Reed, did you drive drunk on April 15th, 2023? Paul glanced at Thomas, then at Emily. Yes. The courtroom went silent. Did you kill Janet Carter? Yes. Did your brother help you cover it up? Paul's voice broke. He did it because I begged him. I told him I'd lose my job, my family, everything. Tommy always took care of me, even when he shouldn't have. He turned to Emily. I'm sorry. I know that's not enough, but I'm sorry. Emily sat rigid in her wheelchair, Sam's head on her lap. Judge Mackenzie spoke. Mr. Paul Reed, you'll be remanded into custody pending formal charges, vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated. 2 officers approached Paul. He didn't resist. Thomas Reed, the judge began. Emily's voice rang out. Your Honor, may I speak? This is highly irregular. Please. Judge Mackenzie nodded. Emily wheeled forward. Thomas Reed obstructed justice. He helped a drunk driver escape consequences. He's guilty. Thomas bowed his head. But he also saved my life. Multiple times. He saved my son. He saved my dog. And he's confessing when he doesn't have to. When it costs him everything. She looked at the judge. I'm the victim here. My mother can't speak for herself. But if she could, she'd say what she always said. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing not to let anger destroy you. Emily's hands trembled on her wheels. I choose forgiveness. Not because Thomas deserves it, but because I do. The courtroom was utterly silent. Judge Mackenzie removed her glasses. Ms. Carter, are you requesting leniency? I'm requesting justice. Real justice. Thomas serves probation, community service. He helps other veterans with PTSD. He trains service dogs for people like me. He becomes the person his guilt wants him to be, not through prison, but through action. The judge looked at Thomas. Mr. Reed, do you accept these terms? Thomas couldn't speak. He nodded. 2 years supervised probation, 500 hours community service with veteran PTSD programs and service dog training. 1 day in jail for every lie you told starting today. She banged the gavel. Then to David. Mr. Phillips, you're under investigation for witness intimidation and coercion of a minor. Bail is set at $50,000. Your custody arrangement with Brandon is suspended pending evaluation. David stood. You can't. I just did. Catherine started crying, quietly, into her hands. Brandon walked to her. Mom, I'm sorry. Don't, she whispered. Don't apologize. You did the right thing. I just wish we had. Outside the courthouse, Emily, Thomas, Brandon, and Sam stood in autumn sunlight. What happens now? Brandon asked. Emily looked at Thomas. You spend the night in jail? Then you come home? Home. You don't have anywhere else to go. And I need someone to teach me how to train Sam properly. Thomas's eyes filled. Emily, don't thank me. I'm still angry. I'm going to be angry for a long time. But she reached for his hand. Your family now. Broken, complicated family. But family. Brandon took Emily's other hand. Sam barked once. A woman approached mid-30s, professional clothing, kind eyes. Emily Carter, I'm Jennifer Matthews. MWD Legacy Foundation. She held out a folder. We need to talk about Sam, and about a dog named Rex who saved 12 soldiers in Afghanistan, including Thomas Reed. She opened the folder. Inside genetic testing results, pedigree documentation. Sam isn't just a service dog. He's the son of a war hero. And his DNA is currently being used to train the next generation of military working dogs. Thomas stared at the papers. Rex's photo. Then a genetic lineage chart showing 6 dogs, 5 serving in war zones, 1 retired to civilian life. Sam. You mean? Rex is still saving lives, through his children. Jennifer smiled. And Sam, despite his injuries, has just been cleared to breed. We'd like to use him in our program. She pulled out another document. There's a monthly stipend, $2,000, for the rest of his life, to support his care and training. Emily's hands flew to her mouth. You'll never have to worry about money for him again, or for yourself. This is what Rex's legacy provides. Thomas dropped to his knees, wrapped his arms around Sam. He's still saving me, he whispered. Even now, he's still saving me. The dog licked his face. As the sun set, 4 figures and 1 dog walked toward Emily's apartment. Are you hungry? Emily asked Brandon. Starving. Thomas makes really good soup. Thomas laughed, the first real laugh in 2 years. Then Emily's phone rang. Marcus Webb. She answered. Hello. Emily, I saw the news. Are you okay? I'm better than I've been in a long time. I'm so glad. Listen, I know this is sudden, but I wanted to ask. He paused. Would you like to have dinner catch up? I've missed you. And I know I was a coward to leave, but I'd like to try to make it right. Emily looked at Thomas, Brandon, Sam, her broken, beautiful family. Can I call you back? She said. I have some people here who need me. Of course, anytime. She hung up. Brandon grinned. Was that your ex? Yes. What did he want? Emily smiled. He wanted the old Emily, but she doesn't exist anymore. She wheeled toward home, flanked by her son, a guilt-ridden veteran, and a war hero's son. I like the new Emily better anyway, Brandon said. As they reached the apartment, Thomas's phone buzzed. A voicemail from his ex-wife. Thomas, I heard what you did, what you confessed. I thought you were a coward, but you're not. You're brave, and Sarah deserves to know her father. Call me, please. Thomas played it for Emily. She squeezed his hand. Call her tomorrow, after you've served your time. Start fresh. What if she doesn't want to see me? Then you keep trying, because that's what family does. Inside the apartment, Something had changed. The easel stood upright. Canvas fresh, paint waiting. Emily picked up a brush for the first time in 6 months. She began to paint. Not the past, the future. 6 months later, Emily's apartment looked different. Curtains open, sunlight everywhere. The easel held a half-finished painting of Sam surrounded by 5 puppies, all German shepherds, all perfect miniatures of their father. 15 students logged into Emily's online art class for disabled youth. Brandon helped with tech support, adjusting cameras, troubleshooting connections. "Miss Carter, I can't hold the brush steady," a 10-year-old girl said through the screen. "Neither can I sometimes." Emily smiled. "That's why we adapt. Try taping it to your hand. Art doesn't care how you hold the brush, only that you do." After class, Brandon left for his shift at the county animal shelter. 4 days a week. He cleaned kennels, walked dogs, learned compassion through service. His Princeton acceptance still stood deferred 1 year while he completed 200 hours of community service. David and Catherine came for dinner every Sunday now. Awkward at first. Painful. But healing slowly. "We were wrong," Catherine had said during their first visit. "We thought love meant protecting you from consequences. But it meant teaching you to face them." David said less. But he showed up. That counted for something. Thomas lived in the apartment building now, 2 floors up. Every morning at 6 a.m., he met with 5 veterans in the park, teaching them what Dr. Morrison had taught him: how to train service dogs for PTSD, how to turn pain into purpose. Sam fathered 5 puppies with a German shepherd from the MWD breeding program. 1 went to the Marines, 1 to Border Patrol, 1 to search and rescue, 1 to a veteran with severe PTSD. 1 stayed with Dr. Morrison for training. The $2,000 monthly stipend meant Emily could afford rent, groceries, medication without fear. Brandon's college fund, untouched by David's threats, would cover his education. Marcus Webb visited once, took Emily to dinner, asked if they could try again. "I care about you," Emily said gently. "But I spent 2 years waiting for my old life to come back. I'm building a new one now, with people who didn't leave." He understood, wished her well, meant it. Thanksgiving Day. Emily's apartment overflowed with people: Thomas, Brandon, Dr. Morrison, Jennifer Matthews from the foundation. Catherine brought sweet potatoes. David carved turkey in uncomfortable silence, trying. "Paul called from prison," Emily answered. "How are you holding up?" she asked. I'm getting sober, really sober for the first time." His voice was steady. "I can't fix what I did, but I can stop being the person who did it. That's all any of us can do." They salter, and after dinner, Emily, Thomas, Brandon, and Sam walked to Riverside Park, the same bench, the same fountain, where everything had broken and begun. "Do you still hate me?" Thomas asked quietly. Emily considered. "Some days, but I'm working on it." "That's fair." Brandon threw a ball for Sam, who bounded after it, ribs healed, spirit unbroken. The dog returned, tail wagging, ball in mouth. "Mom," Brandon said, "can I ask you something? Anything. Do you regret giving me up?" Emily turned to face him fully. "I regret every day I didn't know you. Every birthday I watched from far away. Every moment I couldn't hold you." She touched his face. "But I don't regret giving you a chance at a better life, even if it meant breaking my own heart." Brandon hugged her. "I'm glad I found you." Me too. Thomas stood apart, giving them space. Sam trotted over, dropped the ball at his feet. You want me to throw it, boy? Sam barked. Thomas threw. Watched Rex's son run with the same joy, the same fearlessness as his father. Thank you, he whispered to the sky, to Rex, to whatever force had brought him to that park 6 months ago. Thank you for giving me a second chance. Emily wheeled beside him. What are you thinking about? How I don't deserve this. None of us deserve the good things we get. We just try to be worthy of them. The sunset painted everything gold. Brandon, 18 now, had Emily's smile and her stubborn hope. Thomas, 43, carried his guilt lighter, transforming it from burden into fuel. Emily, 28, had learned that wheelchairs don't define worth. That family isn't always blood. That forgiveness is a choice you make every single day. And Sam were Hero's son, survivor. Healer just wanted his ball thrown again. So Thomas threw it, and they all went home together. This story is fiction, but the pain is real. Every year, over 65,000 people with disabilities experience violence in America. Many cases go unreported because victims feel powerless or afraid. 200,000 veterans live with PTSD, struggling in silence, carrying guilt for things they did or didn't do. Thousands of children grow up wondering why their birth parents gave them up, creating narratives that may be completely wrong. And service dogs save lives every single day, not just physically, but emotionally, pulling people back from the edge when nothing else can. Emily chose forgiveness not because Thomas deserved it, but because she deserved peace. Thomas chose truth not because it was easy, but because living with lies was destroying him. Brandon chose both his mothers because love isn't a limited resource. Here's my question for you. Have you ever had to forgive someone who didn't deserve it? Have you ever been forgiven when you didn't deserve it? Have you watched someone from a distance, wishing you could bridge the gap? Comment below. Share your story. You never know who needs to hear that they're not alone. Because sometimes the family we choose, the second chances we give, and the truth we finally tell, those are the things that save us. Blood may be thicker than water, but the bonds we forge through pain, forgiveness, and choice are the strongest of all. Which moment in this story hit you hardest?